Martin Jůza, the embattled Czech, who has not had a good weekend, 0-9, I'm very sorry to say. I know he's a very well-respected and well-liked player, but geez, he's had a tough day in the office this weekend. Playing against Kvartek here, who has had a little bit of a better time, 4-5, and we're going to get a chance to jump in here at the end of game number 1 by the look of things here, with Kvartek picking up the win in the first game here. Martin Jůza on mono red aggro hasn't been treating him too well here. Naya Adventures, this is the Naya Fury deck that has been so popular this weekend, and Kvartek's done all right with it so far, 4-5. Not the record maybe he was hoping for, but certainly a respectable record when you're playing against the game's all-time greats.
Yeah, absolutely. 4-5 in this field. It's not a record that you'd be happy with in any other tournament, but when it comes to fields that are small and just full of incredible players, sometimes you just take what you can get. And I think that is the case here for Kvartek as we just try to get the right feedback. There we go. This is going to be tough for Martin. Chris is up a game. Deck's getting better post-board, and this Naya Adventures deck, pretty good against the aggro decks, Riley.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's able to, again, close out games in spectacular fashion with this combo-like finish using Goldspan Dragon and then a combination of different Furies, Unleash Fury and Kazul's Fury here to double the power of the Dragon attack, and then, of course, fling it straight at the face for a whole lot of damage. So it really is the breakout deck of the weekend. I know that it was getting some attention before that in the hands of famed streamers like Kronkers and some other people as well. And now it really does seem to be dominating the weekend's play here. Let's see if Chris can make it a 2-0 clean sweep here against poor old Martin. Looks like he's going to take a mulligan here. But Kvartek, this hand doesn't look too great. I think you got to chuck this one back, right?
Yeah, Kvartek has already taken one mulligan, I think. Will likely be taking a second. So Kvartek down to 5, and Martin has a pretty decent 6. So okay start for Jůza. This hand from Kvartek, about as good as you can hope for on a 5. You have Double Heart's Desire into 5/5s against the deck that doesn't deal well with 5/5s. So as far as mulligans to 5 go, this is a pretty great 5 from Chris Kvartek.
Yeah, about as good as they come really here for Chris. See what he can make work with this list, with this hand, I should say. Maybe considering keeping a copy of Glass Casket, but instead it's just going to go with 3 lands, 2 Lovestruck Beast, and honestly it might be enough. Here's Fireblade Charger out the gates here for Martin. Going to be met with a Heart's Desire here from Chris.
Yeah, I think Chris was on that mulligan decision, contemplating whether he could afford to put the 3rd land on the bottom and count on drawing lands while buying time with these Heart's Desires and Glass Casket. But Lovestruck Beast on 3 is just so backbreaking against this mono red deck that when you're on a mulligan to 5, Chris just doesn't want to risk it, wants to make sure that he makes that curve. Obviously, hindsight 2020, draws 2 lands in a row, punished, but I think it was absolutely the correct decision on Chris's part to bottom the casket that he did.
3 copies of Faceless Haven, not ideal here for Martin, especially if he wants to start casting more than 1 red spell per turn, which he's unable to do at this point. And we'll have to cast a card before combat if he wants to hit something off the robber. I think you do this just because if you get a 2-drop, you can play it.
Not only that, I think in this spot when there's double Lovestruck Beast on the other side of the board, I'm not actually sure Martin minds if Chris was to double block with these 1/1 tokens. Like, it's not great, but these 5/5s are not going to be great when they come down anyways. So I think this is absolutely fine. And now Martin, by not playing the card first, gets to frostbite one of these, eat both 1/1s and keep his robber, which is going to be really important with that Showdown of the Skulls being the exiled card, as he will have access to it next turn by throwing away his robber.
That's true, yeah. He can just turn the robber into 4 fresh cards off the top. Now this 5/5 defender's been played here, and the Snow-Covered Mountain joining the fray as well. That's going to be the play here for Martin. An attack with the robber does flip another card off the top. Not too bad. And it's a Giant Slayer. Ooh,
that's a huge card. That you could just play that right now. That's a massive card.
Yeah, you just slam that. Don't even worry about it. You're not going to be able to cast the other half of it, but that doesn't matter. You are getting in for another 3 through the 5/5. Chris Kvartek not too pleased with that.
Can't play that one. Marty goes for a try for a second, but Unfortunately, the can cast with any color clause only refers to the card exiled by Robber the first time, not once it goes into your adventure zone. Ooh.
So a stomp, I think, is going to take out this Robber of the Rich, yes. His robbing days are over.
Yeah,
but
great
now
draw
the
from
door is
Chris.
opened here for Martin to get in with this Faceless Haven.
Yeah, Chris at least saves himself from the Showdown of the Scalds that he knows was exiled. So certainly a bit of reprieve, but 6 damage coming across. He's going to go down to 8, and now with that draw of the Acron War from Martin, the first creature he plays is going to get stolen as well. So this is... he's very quickly seeing the game slip away from him, is Chris Kvartek.
So Lovestruck Beast, again, just going to come down as a 5/5 defender here. Can't attack. There's no 1/1s on the side of Chris Kvartek. But this 5/5 is going to be pretty easy to answer here for Martin Jůza, who does have a copy of the Acroan War. There won't be a Faceless Haven activation this turn. But that's all right. Still getting in for 2, putting Chris down to 6. And Mart can even attack with the Lovestruck Beast next turn, thanks to the Fireblade charge that will remain after this Bone Crusher Giant has stomped the other one.
Yeah, Chris making sure to use that because he wants the opportunity to play double Bone Crusher Giant next turn. And draws a third Bone Crusher Giant, so
it's not
certainly
bad.
not over yet.
No, not bad here. Ripping all the adventure cards that are actually very good in the matchup, the Beasts and the Giants.
With that Stomp, he'll be able to stop that Lovestruck Beast from actually getting to attack now, because that is the Fireblade Charger is the last 1/1 left for Martin Jůza, so actually doesn't even need to play Double Giant here, just passes with another Stomp up, and yeah, things looking almost stable for Chris Kvartek.
He's certainly turning it around on a tenuous 6, but still, the fact that the Beast isn't going to be able to attack is huge here. Anax off the top.
No real choice for Martin.
Well, does he want to attack with one of the Faceless Havens or just play the Anax?
I think he'll want to play the Anax because this will force Chris's hand of basically removing the Fireblade Charger beforehand. And if Anax was to die after the fact, then that means that Martin will get another 1/1 that will turn on the Lovestruck Beast. So I think getting the Anax into play has a decent amount of value for him right now.
Looks like he's going to play the Anax, yes, and in response is going to be a Stomp to make sure that it doesn't make a Satyr.
Yeah, this is a forced play essentially from Martin on Chris, making sure this has to get used before the Anax resolves.
But now no attack with the Lovestruck Beast, of course, because that 1/1 has gone. Shepherd of the Flock here. Now, the Bone Crusher Giant must attack. So it's going to die to the Lovestruck Beast. I guess unless Chris picks it up at the cost of 2 life. Seems risky.
That's not really 2 life Chris has to pay right now.
Exactly.
I think this may feel like a forced throw away Bone Crusher Giant from Chris and then play 2 more. But notably, Acroan War going away next turn, Chris will be getting his Lovestruck Beast back. So in that sense, wow, he's going to
pick it up. He's going to pick it up. This is going to cost him 2 life, of course. Doesn't matter who targets the Bone Crusher Giant. They take 2.
Does still get to play 2 creatures here. Gets the Lovestruck Beast back. That's 3 creatures. So this could actually be fine for Chris Kvartek.
On 3. A little risky. But we're now at a point where with all these blockers, even the Faceless Havens are going to have trouble getting through. Okay, Frostbite's not a bad one. That can deal with the Bone Crusher Giant or the Shepherd. Problem is Anax is pretty anemic on a board by himself, just a 2/3.
Anax is not doing enough here.
Yeah, Martin really needed something like an Embercleave here. Embercleave by itself, making Anax what a 5-3 doubles, a 5-4 double striker. Pretty good.
Yeah, it would have been enough to at least push through some damage here. Chris would have been forced into potentially some poor double or even triple blocks. At this point, I don't think Martin can do anything but just pass the turn and hope that Chris maybe floods out a little, finds a land or two, and that'll give Martin the window. Giant Killer, definitely not a land. Things are starting to fall away from Martin really quickly.
Things looking much better for Chris here. That Giant Killer represents an instant speed answer to Faceless Haven. We see Shepherd of the Flock get in for a cheeky attack as well, able to attack through both Anax and a Faceless Haven. And then a Bone Crusher Giant to follow it up.
This chop down also takes away the possibility of an Ember Cleave.
Yes.
So if Martin was to draw a cleave, he would receive the bad news. It's just not good enough anymore.
Mountain off the top for Martin. Not what he wanted to see, I'm sure. And Chris Kvartek slowly but surely maneuvering into position. Look at this Bone Crusher Giant going upstairs. So I think Chris has smelt blood and has gone, right, I need to get this game over. And we're going to see him come out all guns blazing now, I would have thought. Especially with that Giant Killer as an answer to the Faceless Haven. In for 7 now.
I think Martin needs to animate a Faceless Haven and try to trade with this Giant. You just don't really have much of a choice. You can't keep taking this damage.
But this is walking right into that Giant Killer here. Can animate a second one in response, I suppose.
Yeah, Chris could have considered using the chop down after the block to try to keep his Bone Crusher Giant around, but realistically, the value of that chop down as a defensive play against a card like Embercleave is just so much more important here. So he doesn't mind if he's taking this land off the board.
And Frostbite on the Shepherd of the Flock instead of the other Bone Crusher here. But Chris could keep it around. No, decides to hold the Sajiri Shelter for another time. 2 Satyrs get made by the Anax here, of course, and another Bone Crusher Giant now for Chris. Still keeping up that Giant Killer. Back to Martin, who finds an Embercleave.
Oh.
Now, this would have been an incredible draw were it not for the Giant Killer in Chris Kvartek's hand. This would mean that the Anax would be able to get in for a whole stack, become a real threat. But Giant Killer, I think, is perfectly positioned to prevent that from happening.
This is so tough for Jůza because it just so many potential turns of being able to capitalize and just was not able to find the right cards. And now when he's hitting them, it's been enough time that Kvartek has been able to find the answers. And to Chris's credit, he's been playing this so well, so patiently, knowing exactly when to put some pressure on and what creatures to leave back to make sure that he's safe in any situation.
Yeah, it's been masterful play from Chris. You remember Mulligan to 5, but your heart goes out to Martin Jůza. It is it's been a tough innings for him this weekend. And, he's bravely battling on at 0-9. Such a rough bounce for him. I really do feel for him. Poor old Martin.
Yeah, just to put it into perspective, Martin has 23 points while being 0-9 this weekend. Chris has 4 wins, and he's still 4 points below Martin. That's how well Martin was doing in the league coming into this weekend. And 0-9 is just such a brutal, heartbreaking record.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, poor Martin. I was messaging him before, and he's doing it tough, the poor bloke. And I don't know, he was on Twitter talking about how it was making him feel. And, we've all had tournaments like this. We've all had days like this. And I don't know, man. Martin is a person who's earned my respect many times over with his wisdom and his perspective, his advice, and his mastery of the game over the years. And it really breaks my heart to see him doing it so tough out in the trenches this weekend. So good on you, Martin. And it's a shame that things really haven't worked out for him so far. Here's a Faceless Haven attack, though. This means that Embercleave is still live, of course, because we've got 4 creatures attacking, including that Faceless Haven. So let's see how Chris wants to block here.
Yeah, this will allow Martin by playing the Embercleave to pump the Anax up to 4 power, regardless of whether he puts the cleave on it or not. So the tempting blocks for Chris may be Lovestruck Beast on Anax, a Bone Crusher Giant on Faceless Haven. Martin will likely want to go for Embercleave on Anax or the Haven, and Chris has the Giant Killer for it. You just want to make sure that you are making somewhat profitable blocks here.
Look at this. Genius blocks here. This is so smart from Chris. He has absolutely threaded the needle here. He has recognized that this is how he beats an Embercleave. Because if he left one of those Satyrs unblocked, he could use he can't use Giant Killer to prevent Embercleave from coming across. This is the block that beats Embercleave. And Chris has sniffed it out. He has smelt the equipment a mile away, and this block is poetry in motion. Marnie, this is an incredible block. Okay, never mind. He's done something.
And we've lost it.
So now instead here, if Martin flashes in the Embercleave and puts it on the unblocked Satyr,
all he has to do is play around Chop Down.
He just has to play around Chop Down, put it on the 1/1 that is not blocked here.
And does he play around Chop Down, or does he play around the third stomp? The fourth stomp.
The fourth stomp. That's true, actually, yes. Oh. If he puts it on the 1/1, he dies to stomp. If he puts it on anything else, if he puts it on one of the 4/3s, he dies to Chop Down. So let's see what he wants to play around here.
Wow.
Moment of reckoning here for Martin.
Decision from Martin, so tight. And
yeah.
Wow, this is incredible. You can just see him running through every possibility, having such a rough weekend. Doesn't want to make the wrong decision here. Oh, I can't look. I can't look.
No, he goes for the Faceless Haven. Martin, no. Oh, the poor bloke. Gets blown out by a Giant Killer here. This means the Lovestruck Beast will stick around. 2 Satyrs as a consolation prize here, as the Anax trades with the Bone Crusher Giant, makes another 2 Satyrs. Right. Still has the Embercleave. But another Lovestruck Beast off the top here.
Okay, that's 5 blockers from Chris, 5 attackers from Martin, 6 with the Faceless Haven.
So brutal there. So brutal. Martin had it as well, but he obviously just didn't know it. He played around stomping.
So tough, Riley. It's so tough.
So tough. You can't blame him for it. It's just a numbers game. He ended up losing that bet, unfortunately.
All right. Martin can draw a Fervent Champion. Fervent Champion would do it. A Stomp would do it. There's tons of outs left in this mono red deck.
Martin down a game, of course, as you can see. So he has to win this one and the next one if he wants to stay in it here. Giant Killer joins the Lovestruck Beast as freshly cast creatures, but a mountain off the top certainly isn't going to do it. That's a card that is not going to get him across the line. And this attack is not looking too good. He can force through 1 damage at the loss of basically his entire board.
Riley, this attack is not looking too good, but this game is not looking too good, because if Martin just passes back, then Chris can just attack for lethal. Yep. And use the Giant Killer to tap down the Faceless Haven. That's the only creature that can block on Martin's side.
Yep, all of those 1/1s are unable to block, and the 1/1 on the side of Chris Kvartek, who is inching towards a stunning victory here. Poor old Martin here looks to have really been put through the ringer. Martin taking a loss potentially to Chris Kvartek here, who was on a mulligan to 5. Going to suit up the going to suit up this Satyr, but even this can't. I mean, it just runs into a Lovestruck Beast.
It's on board.
Now there's no block as well. Now there's no block available.
There's nothing. It's over.
And I think Chris Kvartek's going to win this game because, of course, these Satyrs can't block. Well and truly lethal damage on the battlefield here. And with those 2 Lovestruck Beasts and a Bone Crusher Giant, I guess Martin is representing a Frostbite or something. But as it is,
Chris has no choice.
Lines up the blocks here. Going to take 1 to make sure that he can win with lethal damage next turn. He's going to leave the Satyr unblocked here. So he's got a 1/1. I think Martin was trying to coax Chris into blocking with the 1/1. But as it is,
over.
Chris here, masterful stuff from him, it has to be said. Masterful stuff from him, leaving this 1/1, going down to 1 life. There's a Kazul's Fury in case the game were in any doubt whatsoever. An attack with everything. Even the Giant Killer can get in now. And that, my friends, is the game. Chris Kvartek winning in astonishing fashion after a mulligan to 5. He can't quite believe it, but poor old Martin Jůza. I mean, your heart goes out to him. A heartbreaking loss after a heartbreaking weekend. But well done, Chris Kvartek. A well-deserved victory after some very high-level play from this bloke here.